What then is Leon in terms of animals? Although her last name implies a lion, it was not her birth name, nor is Tillman the moniker she adopted upon her unfortunate marriage to Roy all those years ago. Lorraine referred to her as a wolf in sheep's clothing early on, and in a way that is accurate. However, in these situations, the wolf seeks to prey on the sheep. Seems to only want to disappear. Even before the tiger, an episode that explicitly connects the dots with a voiceover that provides a point-by-point comparison. Ole referred to her as, for real, a tiger, and that seemed to be the best description. It's a touch pricey, if you can call the murder and mayhem the narration accompanies that pricey. However, it also seems spot on. Is fierce, cunning, and fiercely protective. She really does resemble a tiger. At the end of the episode, she's like a sleeping tiger, soundly dozing in the spacious Leon mansion as Lorraine hatches a plot against her. Even though she is a tiger, she finally gives in to the strong orderlies who are just there to talk to her. But not before they bite her several times, leaving blood on the ground, including one time while she is tending to an injured eye. If Lorraine hadn't revealed her hidden motive, which would have left bound to a gurney and saying, shoot, her concernment at Dot's actions could really make sense. Indeed, shoot. Administered medication and admitted to the Walter Mundale Care Center. She attempts to flirt with Danish and the attendants while being wheeled to her room. That doesn't work, as she probably expects. She doesn't stay long, though, since she quickly straps an orderly to the stretcher that was supposed to confine her, knocks out a nurse, and removes her scrubs. Manages to get off her high-security floor without much difficulty and begins her nursing responsibilities. Benefit: 1. Will it continue? By the conclusion of the episodes, they begin to resemble one another because Lorraine is tough and unrelenting in her own unique way, perhaps even discovering a shared adversary. However, Lorraine must first eliminate a few traditional male bankers who are uncomfortable engaging in negotiations with a woman. Let me guess, she begins, you bargained with a woman last time about the cost of a blowjob in Tijuana. Then her nastiness increases. It's effective as a negotiating ploy, but she also doesn't truly need it. Even before she takes a seat, she has put these people at a disadvantage. Her goal is to acquire their bank. However, they must get rid of it immediately. She wants to switch from debt to credit in order to diversify. And whether they like it or not, they must assist her. Not nearly as much goes well during the next meeting. When Roy arrives to Lorraine's amazing doorstep, he informs her that is actually his wife, Nadine, and that this is the truth about her. Roy, if that's the appropriate term, has principles, and tries to buy him off since that's her way. When it comes to his responsibilities as a married man, the Bible supports him. After saying, listen, slick, Lorraine goes on to say that her son loves so that settles everything. The photo also features a granddaughter. No agreement can be reached. This is an interesting turn of events that gives a different perspective on Lorraine. Yes, is an issue, but Lorraine, not this North Dakota sheriff, is the one with the problem. Furthermore, although Lorraine may have used assault rifles in her photo for the family Christmas card, she doesn't share her enthusiasm for libertarianism or the constitutional sheriff's movement in general. You want freedom without accountability, then? That deal is exclusive to one person on Earth, she informs him. Roy says he thinks it's the president, and someone says, a baby. You're battling to maintain your infant status. Roy disappears into a cloud of dust at this point, looking ashamed, or would have if he was sensible. Rather, he attempts to continue bargaining until realizing that no agreement can be reached. Shortly before Roy sees Scotty on her way in and departs, with an ambiguous threat just as Inder arrives, Danish gives Roy his card and one more chance. When Danish finds out that has escaped, his already bad day gets worse. But maybe this brightens Roy's day a little. He overhears this information and informs Gator and his Gator gang, so they can attempt to kidnap her while she is at large. Sort of anyway. He instructs Gator to sit this one out and hand the work to the adults because he doesn't trust his son. These folks from North Dakota are quite the terrifying crew. However, if had not felt the need to defend Wayne, who is still recovering at the Mundale Center, they might not have interfered with her plans for escape. Gator vapes in the interim, while Hoffman and Meyer, FBI agents, are out at the hospital. The interior of Mundale is become populated. Plans change. Now has to kill the annoying cancer patient we met last week and go to Wayne's room. Wayne tells her that he just went to the bathroom and that poop came out. The reunion is endearing, although too drugged, but Dot's satisfaction at driving Roy's goons from the scene is fleeting. She first encounters FBI officers, who assure her that they would keep her safe. Later, she sees Gator, who knows her right away. Don't worry, Wayne is there, so they don't need to worry. They fail to do so. Dot escapes again after deciding to accompany the FBI. Is there a particular kind of animal that excels at escaping traps? After verbally abusing Roy and two bankers, Lorraine moves on to Indira, not content to stop there. Lorraine is aware that Indira isn't dead, but she also understands the full extent of Indira's debt. It's terrible as well, and Lorraine compares herself to a zookeeper, not some lemming or lemur, to describe the power she has over Indira and similar people. This episode seems to treat everyone like an animal. Lorraine requests that Indira locate Dot. The rest of it is a waste of time. Lorraine is mistaken when she believes Dot is not at her residence. After sneaking onto the grounds of the opulent Lounge House, Dot meets up with Scotty, who informs her that she had met Roy. Her need to flee seems even more pressing as a result. Her destination is Indira's. While depending on her assistance may seem like a last resort, it works. In addition, Dot plays the hunch because Indira has a pretty face. Dot and Indira talk about the issue at hand while Scotty is preoccupied with a Little Mermaid DVD. The cable has been switched off. Indira insists on getting the truth in exchange for her assistance. Dot informs Indira, "I was 17 when they took me in," referring to Roy. That's another story entirely. Dot says to her host, "You know, when things are going their way, they never hate you. It occurs when someone is weak and feigns strength. And in order to feel huge, they require a little object to climb on." Indira is curious about they. Despite Dot not telling her, she seemed to comprehend. Dot has a particular they, but Indira has encountered several different theys throughout her travels. To her husband's confusion, Indira consents to house Scotty while Dot keeps running away. She's calling it quits on another tightly wound, thrilling, and for the most part, unexpected episode. As we approach the 6th episode, many parties are involved, the majority of whom desire Dot, while others are out to get her. Some are out to hurt her, and still others have unclear goals. However, Dot has other ideas and plans to ignore them all. That seems to be another activity that tigers engage in. Alright, next. Let the orphans fight each other for sport, that's more my style. Libertarian, hence, doesn't the rest sort just fill in itself? This week, Noel. Presumably, he is still eating pancakes. In his words, Roy and Dot Nadine's marriage is my second, her first. And what happened to Mrs. Tillman the first? Probably nothing positive. I'm not sure I can work things out with a guy named after a pastry for breakfast. It doesn't seem wise to undervalue someone like Danish. He can definitely hold his own for a long against a security guy who is much bigger. Is Lorraine's elusive, Ivy League-educated accent revealing her native speech when she refers to her home as the one house in the state where I know the girl ain't at? Dot is courageous and strong, yet every time she thinks about Roy, terror wells up in her eyes.